welcome you to this press conference in support of a motion that has been tabled by myself with the support of Councillor McIntyre and St. Mars, asking the Government of Canada to adopt a plain packaging law for cigarettes and other tobacco products. In essence, what we are asking Canada to do is what is already the law in Australia and has been since 2012, has been adopted as a law in France and becomes applicable on the 1st of January 2017, is the law in the United Kingdom and Ireland and becomes in full force 1st of May 2017 and is being legislated right at this moment in Norway, Malaysia, and New Zealand. It's not the first time City Council has expressed itself on tobacco, and every time we have adopted a motion, it's had a major impact. We were the first in Canada to ask that there be legislation concerning electronic cigarettes, that should be in the tobacco law, and Quebec did follow. We were very strong on our position on Bill 44, which was the reform of the tobacco law in Quebec. We asked that it go farther, that playgrounds be added to the law, and that a number of public places that were controlled by the law be extended. The government of Quebec said yes, when Montreal, followed by 200 other Quebec municipalities, said the same thing. Today, in that spirit, we would like Canada to adopt an effective strategy. Our motion is motivated by a call by the Coalition Quebecoise for the Controle tabac and the Canadian Cancer Society, which asked municipalities to adopt a motion. They proposed a motion, and our text is almost the same. I'd like to let you know we will not actually be the first to adopt this. St. Albert, Alberta has confirmed to me they will adopt their motion on the 20th of June, probably a day ahead of us. And the City of Toronto sent us a note today from the Chair of the Board of Health, Councillor Joe Mibic, indicating that the Board of Health will adopt this resolution in the coming days and that it will go to City Council in Toronto for final adoption as well. All that is good news. Why plain packaging? Because it's an effective strategy to reduce smoking. The World Health Organization, the United Nations, believes that it is one of the key strategies to convince people never to start smoking and also to increase public knowledge of the harms that tobacco does. In your kits, you have 3 different documents, 2 from the Department of Health of Australia and another which is an independent scientific study. These studies will let you know that 108,000 fewer people are smoking in Australia than would have been the case if the plain packaging law had not been adopted. The studies in Australia also indicate that the tobacco industry is selling $2 billion less in the way of cigarettes and tobacco products a year because of this law. It also indicates that there has been a decline in smoking, heightened public knowledge of the harm tobacco does, and a higher percentage of young people aged 18 to 24 never start smoking because of this law. So we see this as effective. I note that the Liberal Party of Canada, in a document called Healthier Kids, outlined in October 2015, just before Election Day, its commitment to a plain packaging law. We know that Minister Jane Philpott, the Minister of Health, has recently launched a consultation of Health Canada for plain packaging, and we believe this motion is an important support of the Government of Canada in its efforts to bring about plain packaging. Wherever plain packaging has been adopted as a law, it has been effective, it's won public support, and every single jurisdiction has been contested by the tobacco industry. And in every single jurisdiction, the courts have ruled that plain packaging is within the rights of the government, it's a legitimate public health measure. And as municipal officials who have worked in so many different areas of interfacing with our higher levels of government to promote public health, we think it's something we should be saying loud and clear to our population. Madam McIntyre. Well, you're going to run through in English and then we're going to come back in French.
Certainly. So I'd like to thank my colleague, Councillor Rotrand, for making me aware of the necessity to act in support of stronger legislation regarding tobacco consumption. In 2014, he invited me to speak as part of a panel of people discussing, experts and politicians discussing all kinds of a range of health issues that that we felt strongly that cities should intervene in and take position on, and I was given the file of tobacco, and so that allowed me to work alongside Geneviève Bois, Dr. Geneviève Bois, part of the association, the Anti-Tobacco Association, and to learn more about some of these different measures that cities could put into place, and that cities at the very least could pressure provincial governments to put into place and federal governments to put into place in order to encourage the population to better understand the dangers associated with tobacco consumption, to discourage young people from even beginning to smoke, and to help people who are already smoking to stop smoking. So we have had great success following that conference with the new law that was adopted in November of 2015 by the provincial government, in which many of those measures that we had brought forward were included. So today we're here to talk about a very specific measure, which is the plain packaging measure. And the reason that this is important is that we know the impact that brands can have on people's decision to buy or not to buy, to consume or not to consume. One need only think of the Marlboro Man and the impact that that had on an entire generation of people in encouraging people to take up the habit of smoking. So getting rid of brand associations and imposing a plain packaging means that people will be less drawn to the idea of the creation of a lifestyle around the habit of smoking. That's what we're trying to break. And so I very much support this measure and hope to see it adopted. Thank you.
We're now going to have Flory Doucas from the Coalition Quebecoise for the controle of tabac, which is at the origin of the request to municipalities to adopt the motion.
Good morning, and thank you to Councillors Rotrand and McIntyre for inviting us to the press conference today. We're thrilled. Just a few words about the Quebec Coalition. We are a health group that comprises some 400 groups and organizations from the health sector, from prevention and youth, so schools, and indeed also a great number of municipalities. We've been asking for plain packaging for a number of years because as we saw conventional advertising disappear and the different types of conventional tobacco promotion, what we saw on the market was the industry using the pack more and more to define its products, and as Madame McIntyre explained, to create all types of imagery and modernize its product, and smoking, through that sense. So here's an example of some of these slim cigarettes, slim packs that we have. We also have packs sold on the market here that you can just open up and kind of tinker with it a little bit and get rid of the outside fact. It has the warnings. And then the smoker's left with a pack that has, this is the cessation. This is what's supposed to remind smokers and help them in their very hard struggle to quit. And essentially, the smoker will kind of throw it away and is left with a pack with no health information. And we have seen great progress in terms of smoking reduction, but still tobacco prevalence is very high here. In Quebec, we're at 19.6%, almost 20%. We've made some progress with youth, but as you get to secondary 5, the smoking prevalence is pretty much that you find in the adult population. So things are not looking that great. And in terms of Canada's smoking prevalence, well, the national average is at 18%. So clearly, a lot of progress can still be made. The tobacco industry will tell you that smoking is a freedom of choice for adults. Let me put that in perspective. Smoking initiation is happening here in Quebec on an average age at 13.3 years. That's when kids start smoking. And for most of these people, these kids, they'll be hooked for the rest of their lives. And we see that in statistics with 85% of smokers having begun smoking before they reached adulthood, and with most of them wanting to quit. So anything we can do to prevent initiation is key and important. And now we look at packaging, and we saw what Australia did. So there's no reason why a product that will kill every second user when used as prescribed as was manufactured by the tobacco industry to look like this. Here's this very same brand sold in Australia, Vogue Blue. In Australia it's sold like this, here it's sold like this. Clearly there's imagery and promotion occurring through this type of packaging. We were thrilled when Justin Trudeau's electoral promise was to fulfill plain and standardized packaging. We applauded when Minister Philpott launched her consultation in May, 3-month consultation. And now we are rallying not only the health sector behind this important measure, but across the board, including municipalities. And so why is it so key that municipalities endorse and show their support for plain packaging? Because the industry will fight this tooth and nail. As Mr. Rotrand explained, the industry has taken this to courts and has fought this measure, and it will do so here too. It will try to rally the business world. It will try to rally all its allies, people that it's given money through the years to block this measure. And so we are so happy and thrilled to see councillors from Montreal and other cities show their support, and we certainly hope that Montreal will adopt this resolution. So thank you so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you, Flory.